This is Diane Webb with YesterdazeNews.com, and I am chatting with Anthony Esposito of Red Dragon Cartel, and they are working on a new album. We're just going to catch up with what they've been up to. Hi, Anthony. How are you?
Hi. How you doing, Diane?
I am doing good today. Hey, thanks for your time today. This is, really cool to hear you guys are making some new music out there. And
yeah, we're putting together the new CD is called Patina. And we're presently up to, we're almost done with guitars, what we call beds, guitar beds, which is basically all the guitars except for the solos. We're almost done with that, and then we're going to start solos probably in a day or two and let Jake fire it up and do what he does great,
Awesome. So Jake's got to get his stuff done still, and then you guys are going to have Darren coming down soon, correct?
Yeah, Darren's probably going to come out in probably 3 weeks and stuff, and then just start singing on it.
That is great news. I loved your first album that you guys came out with, so I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Cool. I'm not on it though.
yeah, I know. That's funny because it does lead into some of the questions I have for you. Because there have been a lot of lineup changes since the inception of Red Dragon Cartel. Most recently was with the exit of Jonas Fairley and then the entry of Phil Varone.
Uh-huh.
How have you guys, how's the feel of the band now with all the lineup changes that have happened and then Darren's back on vocals? How does the band look right now?
Well, I don't really consider it a band. It's Jakey Lee, period. And we just sort of facilitate our parts to try to get what he's got in his head. It's not really. It's almost like he utilizes us to get what he hears in his head out, and we haven't really had too many lineup changes in the band. I'm the third bass player. Greg was kind of a fill-in stopgap because Jake was completely unhappy with the bass player that he had, and he did not want to go further another moment with him, so he sort of got Greg to come in and fill in some dates that were already booked, and then Greg couldn't proceed in the band because he's got family ties and a steady job, and then he had health issues. So then I was asked to come in. And then as far as the singers go, we never really had another singer in the band. Darren was always the singer. We auditioned a bunch of guys that didn't pan out for certain reasons, and different reasons for different people. But we just went through an audition process, basically live, to see what they had and see what type of people they were around us 24/7, and if they gelled with the personality of the people in the band at the time, and if also their singing style and their approach to the gig was what Jake wanted. But it sort of boils down to, it's more like a Nine Inch Nails situation where it's Trent Reznor, and then he just gets people to help facilitate what's in his mind. The buck stops with Jake, and everything starts and ends with Jake, and it's basically what he feels he can get what's in his mind, what he hears down, and he wants the best people that can deliver what he's hearing. And certain people play certain ways, and that doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that they're not right for what he's hearing and to execute what he wants to get out of the songs, Well, when it all boils down to with Jake, the music comes first. And he's a great guy. He's very fair. He's very honest and loyal, and if he says something, he stands by it. And the music comes first, and we're just trying to help get what he's got in his brain onto tape,
Absolutely. And I've seen a couple different versions of the group. I was at Sweden Rock, in I believe it was 2014, right after the album came out. And so I saw the first rendition of the group in Inception, and then I saw you guys out here in May of 2015, and you were actually with Jake by then. So I've seen a bunch of different stuff going on with you guys, and so I'm actually, for vocal-wise, though, I'm happy to see that Darren's back because his vocals really seem to fit Jake's style of music. So
yeah, I agree. Well, he was the best that we've had. I mean, he was heads and shoulders better for the band than anyone else who made an attempt at it and through the audition process. But yeah, I mean, also the approach on this record vocally is more in Darren's wheelhouse, what he naturally sings. A lot of the stuff on the first CD, I was told by Darren that he was asked to sing in a different manner than he felt comfortable and what came natural to him. And the writing on this record is more suited to his natural approach to singing.
Great.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it actually does, because seeing him perform, and I could kind of see that he didn't totally look comfortable with some of the vocals that he was doing, so it kind of explains a little bit of that, so to make it understandable. So,
the first CD was like just sort of, it was really weird with all the different guest people, and I don't think there was enough guitar on it, to tell you the truth. I mean, it was Jakey Lee's comeback record, and the guitar needs to be out front and featured, and I don't think it was loud enough.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because there were a few songs where absolutely he stood out. The guitars were just slamming. And then there were a few other songs where it was more safe, and just he kind of got put to the back burner on it, and it just didn't really feel like a Jakey Lee riff, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a gifted player, talented musician, and it's like I said, it's all about him, and it's about as a musician playing for him. I'm always like, whenever we were writing, because we wrote in a room, and it started out, it was me, Jake, and Jonas, and then Phil came in after. Jonas was there for lion's share of the writing, and then Phil came in for like a week and a half before we tracked drums. We tightened everything up. But whenever Jake would show an idea that he had on guitar or whatever, I would always be like, well, what are you hearing on bass? What's the approach? You know, do you want it busy? Do you want it open? Do you want it, and then it would stem from there. But it all stems from Jake,
So would you say that's probably the biggest challenge of Red Dragon Cartel, is to be able to get what's in Jake's mind out onto written out into music?
He explains very well what he's hearing, and like he'll let you run with something, and if he's not feeling what you're playing, then he'll say something to like, oh, I was thinking something more like this, or like drum parts. Like he was jumping behind the kit and showing Phil what he was thinking should be there, and it's he's a special musician, and I really think people are going to be happy with this because it's all about him, and where his head's at right now, and where his playing wise, where he's at right now. And there's stuff that is reminiscent of Badlands, reminiscent of Ozzy, but there's a lot of like special vibe songs that are showcases talents in different like genres of guitar playing that but are still songs, and there's definitely Jake, but it's not, he's so well rounded that just to make another 70s riff rock like Badlands record or something like that would kind of be selling him short.
True, very true. So you're not only the bassist, you have your own studio. Obscenic Arts is your music studio. Are you doing any of the producing on this album? How involved on that?
I'm co-producing it with Jake, and the lyrics and the melodies right now fell into my lap for the writing of that stuff. So, which I did a lot when I was in Lynch Mob with Oni out by the pool, and with Robert writing lyrics and melodies. So it's not something that's foreign to me, and it's definitely not my first barbecue writing lyrics and melodies. But it's it's great because Jake challenges me as a bass player, that doing things that I haven't done, and I've been playing for so long, and it's like it's so nice at this point in the game to get challenged, scratch your head, and dig in and woodshed on something new that you haven't done before in your career, and it's great. He pushed me. It's great, and I like that at this point, you know.
And that's awesome because you guys have been making music for a long time, and to hear that there's something you're doing you haven't done before gets me excited about what's going to be on this album.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Badlands was big when Lynch Mob was big. I mean, we were both at the same time, the same era. I think they released their first record before we released Wicked Sensation. And so they kind of had a head start on us. And Jake coming off Ozzy is definitely a head start.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, those two bands were kind of like, you know, we were similar yet different. We've been doing this. This isn't our first CD, you know. It's like we've made a lot of records, and I know my place in the whole thing. It's Jake's world, you know, and I just want to, like I said before, just get what he's got in his head down the way that he wants it, you know.
Well, and being that, you know, how you say it's Jake's world, but even at the levels of skills all of you guys have and your talent, just to be in that part of Jake's world and wrap it with what you guys have going on, it's just got to be a pretty amazing experience musically at this point in your career.
Well, I think, you know, with the addition of Phil and with the addition of me, it definitely made the band, this is going to be tough to say, more pro, more seasoned, more, I watched some of the live clips from the first tour that they did, and I cringe. I was like, I don't think this band should be there with Jake. Jake deserves better.
And that's fair. That's absolutely fair.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you had a bass player that never played bass before, a drummer that was not really, I mean, he was auditioned as a singer, and then you had a singer who was a drummer. I mean, you're talking about Jakey Lee, one of the greatest guitar players of all time, and you're following guys like, you know, like Tommy Aldridge and Eric Singer and great drummers and bass players being like Bob Daisley and like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, that I don't really think that whole thing was put together correctly to go out right in the first place. So
awesome. Yeah. I mean, I like I said, I'm really excited for this version of Red Dragon Cartel, what you guys have coming out. Do you think you're going to have your album out early next year, or is there a plan targeted?
Yeah, I mean, well, the label's screaming at us big time, and we always say the same thing. Our mantra is, it's done when Jake says it's done, and it's ready when Jake says it's ready. And we work every day on it, and we're just taking our time, you know, and we're treating it as if it was Jake Lee's last CD that he records, like he'll never record again. That's how important we're making this. I mean, a lot of people nowadays they throw out a CD a month, and they're in 800 different bands, and that's not the way this is put together. We do this, and it's quality, not quantity, and it may take a little longer, and there may be more time in between releases, and that's only because we care about what our names and our legacies are associated with, and you know, it's worth the wait.
Absolutely.
You're making something that's going to be timeless. You're making something that's going to be for sale long after we're passed on. And it should be approached with that intensity and that responsibility that, you know, my name's going on it. I care very much about it. I care very much about what I'm associated with. And I think this CD's coming out incredible. And it's like, what's the point of rushing a release nowadays? All they're going to do is press upload to iTunes, and like, is it really going to change the situation if it's a month, if it's January, or if it's February? But if the quality of the record and the mixes and the vocals are up a notch, that's more important.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you said that, because I do agree. There's a lot of people putting out stuff too quickly that they could have taken more time on to make a really great quality album that, they're putting out decent stuff, but it could just have been something that was fantastic.
Albums have become almost like a new T-shirt design. It's just something to sell at the merch table and gives you an excuse to tour. And it didn't used to be that way. It used to be that the album fueled everything, and everything stemmed off the record and who you toured with and what style, and it's just everything. And we're like, the title of the record is Patina, because we're seasoned veterans and we should know better, and we have acquired all these things over our periods of playing that should make us know better, and the art goes into the music, and everything stems off that CD. And now it just seems like things are just thrown together. Nobody really takes the time, and it doesn't seem like there's very much care, and things are just thrown out, and so it sits on the merch table, and it's an excuse to tour.
I absolutely agree. I'm sitting here listening to you talking about it, and I hear the passion that you have for music, and I grew up with that passion, being a fan, listening to the music, and it just breaks my heart to be able to agree with that.
I know, it's a sad state of affairs. Music's in a very sad state of affairs right now. It's not, the youth bands of today are I don't know what the hell is going on, and the bands that are big, that are on the radio and playing now, are just, I don't really see anything that gets me excited.
Yeah, and I listen to many albums every month when I'm going through listening for new stuff and doing reviews, and it's rare that I get blown away by an album, and when I do, it's just it's like a breath of fresh air to be absolutely blown away by something beautiful.
What was the last CD that blew you away? Because I want to listen to it.
I think the last thing that blew me away, that really just turned my head, was a band from Sweden called Corroded. And they put out an album earlier this year called Defcon Zero that was just amazing.
Okay, I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
Corroded.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, because it's really hard. And I live in the middle of nowhere, and like, I own a horse ranch in the middle of PA, like, I'm right above Gettysburg, and the bands that I produce come out, and they stay on the ranch, and I record them here, and I have a beautiful studio, and a great drum room, and, I don't really have that much. The radio's god-awful. I can't, I end up listening to classic rock radio because the new stuff I can't get excited over the new bands, And, like, it's just sad to me. It's really sad what happened to music, because it was a thing that we used to live for, and it was a thing that mattered. It was a soundtrack to our lives. And iTunes and other vehicles have just made music disposable.
Absolutely. That makes my heart very heavy right now. It's just, yeah.
Think about it. The best ways to sell your song is getting it placed on a TV commercial, a video game, or a movie.
Absolutely.
That shows you how pathetic radio is.
Yeah, and I hear a lot from my readers that they don't even listen to the radio anymore. They're going to hit Spotify, or they're going to hit iTunes or something, and they're going to talk to people and go to shows to find music. So I try to link them to the stuff I'm hearing.
But even those don't showcase newer stuff very well, those Spotifys and stuff.
No.
And you're already stuck in a genre, a room oh, bands sound like this, so we'll put it on this channel, and the people that listen to that will like it. Where it's like, it wasn't, radio used to be different. Like, you hear different stuff. It wasn't the same stuff over and over.
Absolutely true. Yep, I agree. So next year, after you guys get the album out, are you guys planning on doing any touring? Is that something you've started talking about?
Yeah, I mean, well, once again, it's up to the boss. I would love to tour forever, but we're not in our 20s anymore, and it's a matter of physicality too. Jake's wrist and back are issues touring wise, and he doesn't want to just he's not the type of player to mail in a show. I mean, he cares, and that's why we can only do X amount of shows in a row, but then have to have X amount of days off, so his wrist and his back can recover. But yeah, we want to tour. We're thinking touring early next year. If the record, the goal is to have everything wrapped up before Christmas, mixed, and the video we're shooting is next month in the middle of November. And the goal is to be out on the road in 2018, hit the road with the new lineup and the new album and the new songs. And I don't know if Jake's going to want to play as much of the Badlands stuff and as much as the Ozzy stuff as we did on the last tour. I think he wants to really concentrate on this new record live, because the songs, we're really excited about the record and really excited about the songs. So I think the lion's share of the new set would probably be this album, with a few songs off the first album sprinkled in, and maybe an Ozzy song or a Badlands song here and there. But yeah, there's definite plans. We don't know whether. I mean, I think we want to jump on a tour, and we'd love to open up for somebody bigger or do a dual headlining thing, and do it that way to stir up some interest, and play in front of more people, and get the music out. The whole thing is not to try to preach to the choir. The hardcore Jake Lee fans are going to go out and buy the CD and know the songs and come to the shows. We kind of would like to go play with somebody else and steal their crowd.
Get on some of those festivals and you'll do it too. And that's the...
Yeah, it's just about playing in front of people that don't even know the band exists, Play in front of people that, wow, that's Jake Lee. Oh my God, I didn't even know he had a band. You know what I mean? Like, get the word out and get the music out so people could hear the band live, and we're gonna be able to put on a really good live show with this lineup.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys make it back up to Seattle. We loved it when you guys were here last time. We'd love to have you back. So. Yeah,
we played like that punk rock club.
The El Corazon. Yeah. It was a great show.
I remember after sound check, we all walked to that. There's like some restaurant that has these amazing burgers.
Oh, we've got a lot of those around here. It's hard to pick.
This one was close to the club. It was probably 8 blocks away. And remember, we walked along, and we went out of the club to the left, and we walked about 3 or 4 blocks, and made another left, and walked another 3 or 4 blocks, and it was right there. And it was pretty incredible, the burgers. Like, Jake has this app. It's like, I think, like the Food Network, whatever. And, like, so whenever we're in town, he was like, oh, I want to try this restaurant. So we'll always make an effort to get a good meal,
Well, you got to do that and try the local stuff no matter where you're at. There's always something interesting to do, so absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Anthony, thank you so much for your time. This was really awesome.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
I am thrilled.
I can't wait. I can't wait till the CD comes out, and I hope everyone is excited about it as I am, because it's incredible. It's unreal. It really is a great CD, and we can't wait. Max Norman's going to mix it, and Max did the first 2 Ozzy records with Randy, and then he did Bark at the Moon with Jake, and then Max also did Wicked Sensation when I was in Lynch Mom, amongst all the other great CDs that Max did. And so having Max with the Bark at the Moon, Wicked Sensation common denominator was kind of like a great thing. I was like, Jake, what about if we get Max to mix it? He's like, oh, that'd be awesome. So I reached out, and Max got all pumped and excited. And so actually, he's going to come out to hear our progress and just meet with Jake, so he gets Jake's feeling on the mixes before he attempts the first mix. But so yeah, once we're done tracking, then we're going to just shovel the songs to Max and let him do his magic.
And yeah, he's going to do some magic. This is going to be an amazing album. The more I hear and the more details, I'm so excited that there is new music coming.
Yeah, it's we're all excited about it, and that's why we're taking our time. We don't want to ruin it. We don't want to mess it up. So far, so good. We're all still excited, and we've been working on it. God, I mean,
and you know how that works. Like, no matter how good it is, you're always going to have that one person that says, "Oh." So.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, Jake doesn't care. As long as Jake's happy with it. You know, he said it in many an interview. He makes music for himself, and if people like it, that's great. But he's the one that ultimately has to like it, because it's his name on it, and he takes pride in what he does, and he's excited, and that's all that matters. You know, we're almost up to vocals. Actually, we still have solos to do, which I can't wait. I mean, that's just, Jake's got this room full of guitars and amps and killer vintage pedals, and oh my God, he's got like 30 vintage guitars that are all made in, you know, late 50s, 60s, and early 70s, and they're just these incredible instruments and these great amps, and the tones are insane on this thing. I can't wait to do solos over it. Like, it's gonna be so much fun tracking that, you know.
Yeah, that would be amazing. To witness that would be just amazing.
Yeah, he's such a great player. It's really great. It's special. I feel very lucky that I'm part of it, and I feel lucky that I'm actually in the room when it's being created, and that Jake trusts me enough to let me be a part of it. And also my son's doing a lot of the engineering on the record too, so he's around too, and which is a great thing. It's pretty much just, you know, after Phil left, Phil did his drums, I think it was April, yeah, it's probably April, and he, when his tracks were done, it's just been Jake, me, and my son Tyler in the room doing, you know, all the guitars.
Wow, that's awesome to keep it in the family too. That gotta be
he's
special.
He's a great engineer. He went to school for it and everything. He worked with Kevin Churko out in Vegas before he came out here, and he's a really great engineer. So it's the three of us have been in the room and basically, like I said, helping Jake get what he's got in his brain down onto tape, you know?
Awesome. Well, we're really excited, and we're going to keep an eye out for the album, and we're going to be talking about it, because I really think that people need to be listening to your guys' music, and just, again, I'm super excited for this.
2018 is going to be the year of the dragon.
That's great. Awesome. With Anthony, again, thank you so much for your time, and like I said, we'll be keeping an eye out for the album. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you for having me, and hopefully I'll hear from you after the record's done.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks
Great.
again.
Thanks.